Welcome into another installment of what we're calling right now just the Lake Hicks show right now. I guess, land of 10,000 lakes here in Minnesota. So we'll just go with that right now until something
Henry
else
and Hicks,
sticks.
H&H.
Why not? I mean, that's
H&H,
something
man.
that can stick, two brothers making it work. So first, the 4th of July was this past weekend. So how was your holiday weekend? Do anything special?
I really didn't do a whole lot.
That's the best.
It was relaxing. I did go out to Lake Minnetonka on the 4th. I worked on the 4th, so I did the radio show.
Okay.
Got all the couple hours in before the Twins played.
Mm-hmm. Did you get on a boat on Lake Minnetonka?
So I didn't get on a boat.
Okay.
I wasn't really I don't really make plans because I don't really celebrate the 4th like that. I really don't. It's not really one of those things for me.
Right.
And so I just went out to the lake because a friend of mine, they have a nice lake house out there.
Mm-hmm.
So went out there, hung out with them. They had food. Brought in because it's right there out in Excelsior.
For sure.
And we just hung out, watched the fireworks. But there was something that I loved about this 4th that hasn't been a thing in the last 20 years, and it's the fact that people were not tripping with the fireworks. Like the days leading up and the days after. Because in Minneapolis, the last 5 or 6 years, and people know this, they like to do the fireworks thing all night long. I don't know if people's budgets have been drained. I don't know if people are man, I can't spend that money like that. We ain't got that stimulus check anymore. But I'm happy about that. So for all of you that, are not really doing the fireworks thing today, I appreciate you. Thank you.
So you got some sleep?
Got some sleep, some good sleep.
They were going off in my neighborhood the night before the 4th. Yeah.
What about still?
No,
because
not
the
right
last
now.
couple years, people were doing fireworks for an entire week after.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
In my neighborhood, it's a little quieter, So, we had it going up the 3rd and the 4th. You could hear them all night long till about 11, 12 o'clock. Then it kind of subsided, so we ain't had nothing to worry about. So, my little one, we took him to Chanhassen for his first parade, and then we went to Chaska to see the fireworks show that night. So, he didn't like them the night before when they were on our back porch, and you could kind of hear them in the neighborhood. He was like, my ears hurt. But then we took him somewhere the next night, got him some Dairy Queen ice cream, and he enjoyed it. He was taking out the phone, recording everything and whatnot. So, he had a blast. So, he had a good time.
I want to give those people some props because I think it's a respect thing, too.
For sure.
We're not going to do this all week long. And people have dogs, and I've never had a dog.
My dog doesn't like them.
Yeah, so be respectful.
Yeah, we were walking the other day on the 3rd when they were going off, and it was in our neighborhood, and my dog was dragging me back home. His ears were kind of folded back. He was like, all right, let's get inside. This is too much. Now, speaking of the 4th of July, my boy Drake came out with a song this past weekend, 4th of July weekend,
Yo, boy Drake.
titled What Did I Miss? And for those of you who don't know, Drake and Kendrick Lamar had this rap battle last summer. And
people know.
Henry Lake and myself were very vocal about this back then. Henry more so than me. What is your stance against Drake? I don't get. He even dissed LeBron James.
Yeah, I so on the record officially, I'm not some Drake hater.
Okay,
Drake
that's good.
Drake has put out hit upon hit upon hit upon hit. My stance with Drake is I don't like the way he moves. This guy, he just doesn't get it, and I think some of it is. We know that hip-hop is a culture.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that there's a lot of things that he does and reactions that he has that you're like, that ain't adding up. Is there something going on to where you just want to be the polar opposite of what everything hip-hop stands for? Diss tracks have been around forever. And when you play in the dirt and it gets dirty and it gets grimy, it is what it is. You got to deal with that. So him having a back and forth with Kendrick, I think a lot of people looked at it and they appreciated it. They loved it. It was a classic rap battle. We've seen Nas and Jay-Z. We've seen Kumo D and LL Cool J. So it's always going to be a thing. We've had Pusha T and Drake. But whenever Drake loses a battle, he cries. And that's one thing people don't like. When Pusha T bodied him, he at least in that specific situation, he didn't go the lawsuit route.
Right.
With this, come on now.
It was a little crazy.
Not
Like Us was a banger.
A banger.
I heard that, and the first time that beat dropped with Mustard, I was like, Drake's in trouble right now.
On a Saturday, my sister sent it to me. She lives in L.A., and I was like, oh, it's going up.
Yeah, I heard that song, and I was just like, that's bad for Drake fans.
I don't think that helps his lawsuit because he's trying to claim that UMG propped up the song.
I think it was just a banger.
We knew immediately it was a banger.
The first 30 seconds.
And he knew the next day when he dropped the final disc, the Heart Part 6 or whatever, when he dropped that, he bowed out.
Yeah.
Because he knew it was over. How are you
was.
claiming that this is all manufactured? Nah.
So let me get your take on this. Do you respect him for dissing LeBron James? Because I felt like well, here's my thing though. When Bronny James collapsed at USC during his basketball season, had to go to the hospital and all that. One of the first people that's openly supported him was Drake. Had him come out at his show, him and LeBron. Yeah. So I guess I'm a Drake fan, but I respect Kendrick's music. Yeah. And so my thing is like when you listen to Drake and hear his pain and how he's still venting about all this, he's like, look, I was with you, and then you turned your back on me.
No, I don't respect it at this point.
Right.
So I think you bring up great points because I think that Drake has every right to feel a certain way about people that he viewed as friends, and then all of a sudden it seemed like they were dancing on his grave, and they had so the pop out was a moment. To think that people wouldn't go to the pop out, now he's got to be honest with himself. Like, it's a big time concert. It's very exclusive.
Yeah.
My sister wanted to go. She couldn't get a ticket. She couldn't get in.
Oh, really?
I would have loved to have been there, but it was just that it was that exclusive. So he has to understand that. Secondly, yes, you do have a right to feel a certain way, and I'm not even opposed to him, being upset with DeMar DeRozan or saying things about LeBron James. But after you do it the first time, then it's time to let it go. Yeah. Because he already did that with the freestyle that he put out like a month and a half ago, a couple months ago. I just think that him carrying on with the athletes, that ain't a good look. He's talking about he's going to go up in the Raptors and take down a DeMar DeRozan. I mean, that's just corny stuff. Who wants to hear that? It's corny. And I think that there are just a lot of things that culturally in hip-hop that he moves and people look at it and say, you may be the boy, but like we don't ride with that. Ghostwriters. I will say this till the day I die. As a hip-hop fan, I've been in love with hip-hop my whole life. First big concert I ever went to, Run DMC, Beastie Boys, and Public Enemy.
That's a good one.
Ghostwriting is not something that a person accepts and then tries to pivot and say, I'm the greatest. That's not it. Because if you are saying lyrics that somebody else wrote, that's not really your life. He put out a video to accompany the What Did I Miss? Yeah. And he had a bunch of guns on it. Don't nobody want to hear that gun stuff, dude. Like stop with all that tough talk. That's not what we're doing here. You just lost a rap battle and you're in court right now, and now you're talking about guns and being a mob boss and all this other stuff. We're not hearing none of that. Kendrick came to Toronto and sold out 2 nights. And then he got mad at a politician for being in the crowd.
He did. And a politician walked it back.
I mean.
What Did I Miss is the name of the song, and clearly we missed a lot.
What did he miss? Everything, essentially. Drake.
All right, well.
He missed everything. What did I miss?
So basically, all the friends are just like, look, you're not like us. Like, pretty much like Kendrick Lamar said. And then in response to Drake dissing Drake, Future put out a tweet and said, I'm going to choose being a real one over anything. And you know who liked that tweet? LeBron James. So I really
Who put out the tweet?
Future. Future. And we all know Drake, Future, Kendrick Lamar, like these guys are hip-hop. Like this is what the athletes surround themselves around. This is how they get ramped up for their games. And so you got Future saying, I'm going to always choose being a real one over anything. And then LeBron James liking that. So it's like, Drake, are you not a real one?
I think that the best move, and this is just advice for Drake, the best move that you can do is just get back to rapping and do the rapping where you're talking about something. And
I like Drake with the melodies and not the Drake that acts
well,
tough.
show some elevation, because even with the new song, his cadence and flow, it's the same as it's been.
I couldn't listen to it.
I listened to it because I wanted to be, in the know, and we part of the culture and all that. I listened to it once, and I said, man, let me listen to it one more time. I listened to it a second time,
I couldn't jump.
And I was just like, no one's going to deny that you can rap. But what's changed? GNX was different than any other Kendrick Lamar album.
It was.
To Pimp a Butterfly is a different Kendrick Lamar. Like, all of his albums are different. Mr. Morale, and the Half, that is probably the album of all of his albums that I liked the least.
Right.
But it was still unique in some way. I think that Drake has to show that he can have some versatility as an artist.
Well, we just say that Drake's been popping since I was in high school. So, like, we're going back to 07. how long can rappers sustain a run? I mean, like people talk about Lil Wayne, he's one of the greatest of all time, and now he's a little bit different. It's like, how long can you continue a rap career?
You could do it a long time. It's not like a sport, or if you want to view it as a sport, it's a different type of sport. You can be a rap artist for a long time. Look, Snoop, I got some issues with Snoop right now, clearly. But Snoop still can put out some stuff. Yeah, he can put out some good stuff still. Black Thought from the Roots, he's unbelievable. Like LL Cool J, he put out 2 tracks last year that's still off the charts. He actually coined the phrase GOAT. Remember, he was the one that came up with the phrase greatest of all time.
Well, Snoop has some bangers right now that my son likes. Doggy Land. He has an album for kids.
Oh yeah, I did see that.
And my son loves that stuff. So let's pivot a little bit. Let's talk about kids. LeBron James' son, Bronny James Jr. playing in summer league. Did not play the first game. Played in the second game. Had 10 points, a couple rebounds, and a steal and a monstrous dunk. Is it? Let me go back to what Stephen A. Smith said and how he kind of criticized LeBron James for not letting Bronny travel with the G League team and, only being at the home games with the Lakers. Do we really think Bronny James Jr. is an NBA player?
Yeah, I think he's an NBA player, a bench player. He's not a starter. I don't think that, and it just comes with the territory. It comes with he is following his father's footsteps. I think that's the thing. And so I think that he's going to be held to a standard that he'll never able to fully achieve because his last name is James. Yeah. His brother will probably have to deal with the same thing after he finishes his time in Arizona. I'm not going to say it's unfortunate. It's actually a blessing to be able to, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he's in the league because of his dad, Nobody that goes to USC and does what he does for I don't know how many different, 20 games, 30 games, whatever, ends up getting an opportunity to get a guaranteed contract. Like, if it was anybody else, they will be on a non-guaranteed trying out in the summer league, in the G League, doing a two-way maybe or whatever. So,
like his former teammate Amari Bailey, who's now dressing out with the Timberwolves in summer league, who was his teammate at Sierra King.
Yeah, so I like Bronny, and I root for Bronny. Bronny's been through some stuff, the physical situation, whatever. He seems like a grounded, good kid. But do I think that he is going to be some sort of NBA superstar? Nah. What do you think? You think he's going to be a star?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I do think Stephen A. Smith had a point of what he was saying, because, Bron kind of brought that criticism on Bronny. I feel like, because he came out and made a tweet that said that Bronny is better than half the league, and it's lightweight hilarious. So it's like you put this bullseye on your son's back. So when he came in and he wasn't able to hit shots, or he couldn't hit a three, or he couldn't create his own shot, it was like, well, you said he was better right now when he was in high school. He's in the league right now. He's not. So why are you hindering his growth? Why aren't you letting him travel with the G League team and play away games and things like that? So I understood where Stephen A. was coming from.
I agree with that. And Stephen A. at times he gets on all of our nerves. But he makes a lot of good points about a lot of things in sports, and I agree with that one specifically. But I also think that LeBron, as who's been an unbelievable father, he's been an unbelievable leader, community person, given to other people's children's back in Ohio and stuff like that, whatever. I think that this is a moment where he has to not coddle his son. Yeah. Like let your son, if how imagine a major league Hall of Famer telling the minor league baseball coach, my kid's not riding the bus. He's going to go on a jet. Like, that would not help him with the team. It wouldn't help him grow as a person. And I just don't want to see Bronny coddled in any way in his NBA upbringing.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And hopefully he gets his opportunity to flourish. Do we think he'll be a superstar? Lake and I agree. No, but he can prove both of us wrong. And if he does, we'll be right there supporting him. Now, your boy, Byron Buxton. He's headed to the All-Star game to participate in the home run derby. How do you feel about that? 19 home runs this season, 270 average. I will say this. When I got to Minnesota, the knock on Byron Buxton was he's never available all season long.
Yep.
He can never play a full 162-game season. He's just a little too reckless in the outfield, inconsistent at the plate. He's showing up this year. Yeah,
he's answered all of those criticisms. And so when you look at Byron Buxton, this is his moment. It is. Now, it's unfortunate the team overall isn't playing much better, but he's answered the call. Like people have said, don't be as reckless, can you stay on the field, and be available more? Can you hit for more power? Average-wise, can you make sure that you're being somewhat decent? And you know he's going to always display the glove. Mm-hmm. He has produced and he's done everything. This is the Byron Buxton that people imagined 3-4 years ago. And remember, he already made an All-Star team before. Right. But now that he's back there, right now, this version of Byron Buxton is underpaid.
Ooh.
Underpaid. Oh, yeah. Because when he signed for $100 million, they actually got a discount. From a talent perspective, you know he can get more. But you know why he didn't get more? You know why? Because he was always injured.
Right.
You know, he's never available. That's the reason why he was only able to get $100 million. Right now, Byron Buxton's playing like a much, highly compensated player than what he is.
I want to ask you this because right before we came down to tape this episode, an ESPN push alert came out, and it basically listed a lot of trade scenarios for Byron Buxton and what the Twins could get in return. Do you think at this point of the season the Twins should be using him as trade value, or do you think they need to hold on to him while he's playing?
You got to hold on to Byron Buxton. I don't care if the wheels fall off. Don't trade him. Like, I think that Twins fans understandably would melt down in such a way, and I probably will fall in that camp too. And I'm not saying that you don't do certain things because of the potential sale. But, I mean, how does that look? Like, does the team become more attractive without Byron Buxton? I don't think that it does.
Heck no.
So, and people still want to have something to go see.
To look forward to, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we still got August. We still got, we just started July. We still got August, and we still have September.
3 months of baseball.
Yeah, I just try to figure out if there's a way to move forward with guys getting and improving from within. But moving him just to me is a no-go. It's not. I would entertain, and I know his value isn't high at all because it's just not. I would entertain moving Royce Lewis before moving Byron Buxton.
You serious? Are you doing this again? Like,
I'm not.
2 weeks in a row.
I'm not trolling. Stuff? I just don't think he's ever going to fully be healthy.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm serious.
He just got back though. You're not even giving him time.
No. I'm not saying I want to trade Royce Lewis. That's not what I'm saying.
You're just saying he probably has more.
No, what I'm saying is I would rather do that
than Buxton.
Yes, okay. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. I'm not advocating. Listen to me. I'm not advocating to trade away Royce Lewis because this is a guy that you have, under contract and stuff like that. All I'm saying is before I'm doing that, you know what I'm saying? So.
Okay.
I felt a little Kendrick in there.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I'm going euphoria. I'm going euphoria on y'all right there. I'd rather do that.
Look, nothing would be the same. I feel like in Minnesota, the Drake reference, nothing would be the same. I feel like if they let go of Byron Buxton this season, I think fans would riot outside of Target Field, and they'd be highly upset. Now, some upset college football players here in Minnesota. The NCAA 26 is being released this week. It came out for some people yesterday. The rest of the field this week. Some players on Minnesota's roster ranked high: Coy Parrish, Darius Taylor. Some other people considered sleepers. When you look at the Gophers roster and schedule this year, they're projected to win 6.5 games. Is that too high or too low for PJ Fleck and his crew?
6.5?
6.5.
I thought they would have had it a little bit higher.
Well, their schedulers, they got a couple cakewalks and then some gauntlets on there.
Yeah. That's a great question. I'm gonna go over.
Me too.
I'm gonna go over just because there's always a game where PJ's team lets you down, but there's always like 2 games where they jump up and they surprise you.
USC last year.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and go over. But that name, man, you just mentioned a name, man.
Which one?
You know what name you just mentioned?
Coy Parrish or Darius Taylor?
Parrish, man.
He's the real deal.
That's why I'm excited for this year.
He's one of the top-rated players in the NCAA 26 game.
He is the reason why I'm excited for Gopher football this year. Like,
elaborate.
When I watched him last year, I was like, the UPS, what can Brown do for you?
He's special.
He's special. Like, you talking about seeking out the football. Mm-hmm. He can do it all.
5 interceptions.
Yeah. Return game, everything. So you don't oftentimes see guys that are not quarterbacks, that are not running backs, that are not full-time wide receivers, whatever, that grab you like that. Mm-hmm. Like what he does you have to pay attention to him, and he is just a burst of excitement to watch.
I can't wait to watch him play football this season because I don't know if you saw the video this past spring or the picture where he had on a burgundy and white jersey. So it's like one side burgundy, one side white. So that means he's playing both sides of the ball. So we got some Travis Hunter type flow here in Minnesota with Corey Parrish because we all know what he can do with the ball in his hand. So my thing is, do you think the Gophers and Drake Lindsey, their new quarterback this year, do you think they have enough talent if Corey Parrish plays offense to beat a team like Ohio State?
No, not to beat Ohio State. No.
That's the bar. I feel like, and so my thing. Here's my thing, though.
Whoa. You okay?
I am. See, okay.
You need some water?
I do need some water. Hold on.
I mean, because you gotta calm down. He said Ohio State.
Look, like the only reason why I said that, right? Because everyone hearing Minnesota, like PJ Fleck just got extended through 2030. He got another contract extension. They amended his buyout clause. Not sure the details surrounding that, but here's my thing: this guy keeps getting job security year after year. And he has never beaten Ohio State or Michigan. So the bar is so low for Minnesota Gophers football. When do you raise it and say, when are you going to compete with them? Now, granted, I know Ohio State spending $20+ million on their football roster alone, but with revenue sharing coming in this year and the teams able to pay their players, I kind of expect Minnesota to start taking the next step because I think the Ohio States, the Alabamas will soon take a step back because everybody can afford to pay players.
Until I see that the Minnesota Golden Gophers have an elite quarterback that everybody's talking about in the Big Ten, that I'm not buying into we're going to be beating the Ohio States of the world.
Well, they never said that. They never say that. They're kind of like
no, I know. I'm just saying, like, I can't see it. Like, I'd like to see it. I don't think that we're dealing in real realism.
Does PJ Fleck deserve all these contract extensions then?
Probably not. Well, it depends on how you view it. If you're the U and you think that this is what the Gopher program is, then yeah. If you are a fan and you say, no, I think that we are better than what we are, then you're probably in the camp that says no. Because this is how Gopher football operates. Gopher football operates in that there's going to be a couple of weeks coming up this year where there's going to be disaster, or there's going to be a bad coaching moment, or there's going to be one or two losses, and everybody's going to pull their hair out and say, PJ, we're just spinning our wheels. I see it on Twitter. I see it.
It happens every year.
It happens all. And then there's those one or two games, in which he just looks like a genius, and everybody's like, row the boat. Row the boat.
Sky, you might go.
Yeah.
Well, they opened the season on Fox 9 versus Buffalo Thursday, August 28th, I believe. So we'll obviously have pregame shows, postgame shows, all that coverage leading up to then. So you believe they win over 6.5 games?
Yeah, I'm going to go over.
I'm going to go over with you, too, on that one. So, all right, so
I'm going to ride with PJ.
I'm going to ride with him, too, this season. I think he does some good things when people kind of count him out. All right, so we're going to wrap this episode up. But first, we got to tell people, you're headed to Vegas for what?
NBA Summer League.
Uh-oh. How fun is that every year?
It's a lot of fun. And for me, it's it's business and pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Because I go out there fully credentialed. I'm going to the game. So I'm making sure that, when people are like, well, Lake, hey, what's going on with the squad or whatever, follow me on Twitter at LakeShow73 because I'm going to be tweeting out clips. I'll put stuff on IG and all that, whatever. So I'm going to be going to the games. It's not like I'm just going to be out there in the strip, hanging out in the sports book, just betting on whatever. But now I go to the games, but then I also get a chance to network and see people that I've known in the league for a long, long time. You know what I'm saying? People because it's almost like it's a big convention, a basketball convention. You've got all the scouts that are there. You got the up-and-coming coaches. You got the prospects, the actual draft picks and free agents that are trying to do their thing. You have all the executives that come out there. So it's like everybody, descends on Vegas and just are having a good time. You have a lot of Hall of Famers. There's a lot of different functions and stuff like that. So like at the convention center, they have a big deal there where they have like concerts. I know a couple years ago it was like 2 Chainz and some other people were performing. A lot of merchandise that you can buy. A lot of stuff for kids. So it's just great, man. It's unbelievable.
So will you be there the whole 2 weeks?
No, so I will be there for a week.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I typically stay out there for like 7 days.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna get
the
all
Wolves
the
start
Wolves
on the 10th. Yeah, the Wolves start this Thursday. They're the very first game. I think they play the Pelicans.
Yeah.
And so I think that the last game of the night on Thursday, because it's the 10th, is Cooper. I think they got Cooper Flag playing against the Lakers, maybe.
Ooh, and Bronny James.
I know.
Ooh,
They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
I'm tuning in for that one. That's gonna be a good game.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be on ESPN or NBA Network, whatever it's on. I'm gonna be tapped in.
If I make a little money in the sports book, I might go see Nas.
Look, if you
might go see
find a
Nas.
sports book that has a line that says Drake will have the #1 album by the end of this year, I want you to put some money on that. All right, because he's about to come out with another album, y'all. So I want you to put some money on that.
How would they do? #1 is in what?
On Apple Music charts.
In terms of sales?
I don't know how that stuff works, but if it's #1 on Apple Music, you
Watch
number
your money,
one.
dog. Because the Clips album about to be crazy. The 2 songs that they've dropped already, and they got the Kendrick on there. Oh man, it's about to be so real.
Basically, you saying you
That's
shouldn't
not a
put
good
any money.
bet.
It's not a good bet.
It's not a good bet.
No bet is a good bet, honestly, in Vegas. But hey,
I know, right?
It is what it is.
But
right?
in Vegas, you got to do it.
You got to do it. Well, Lake, you have fun. We appreciate it. When you get back,
appreciate
we're going to have to recap everything.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, and appreciate you guys for joining us on episode 2. We'll see you all next week.